Welcome to the Saturday Conversation. I'm Bobby Burton, joined by Rod Babers and Coach Tim Brewster, special guest for us this Saturday morning. Welcome in, Coach. How you doing?
I am doing absolutely spectacular, Bobby. Great to see you, but more importantly, great to see my dude, Rod B.
Oh, man. Coach, we appreciate you joining us. When I told Rod that you were going to come on as a special guest, he goes, Bobby, I got to do this, man. Rod doesn't always join us for Saturday morning, but he's up and at him. Coach, I got to ask you, before we get into your time at Texas as part of the number one ranked recruiting class, recruiting Rod Babers as well as Vince Young and others, I want to ask you, and for the folks out there, the fans out there at Texas, what's it like being a college coach these days? You were a elite recruiter, if not one of the best, if not the best, one of the best in the country. Chris Sims came to Texas. All these guys. What's it like now being a college coach with the advent of NIL in the background? What is it all like right now? Because I think you're uniquely situated to talk about that.
You know, Bobby and Rod, it's so different because forever and ever, I've been one of the top recruiters in college football. I mean, I'll go in and I'll go get them wherever they're at, whatever the situation is. And nobody in college football loves the recruiting process like I love it. I mean, I absolutely love the process of going and recruiting elite players like Rod Babers, going and getting the best of the best. And now, it's so different because like I'll be recruiting kids now and the kid will say, Coach Brew, I love you, man. You're the absolute best. I mean, the relationship that we have is absolutely great. But Coach Brew, how much money you got in your pocket? How much, let's talk about the money, and that's what makes it so different now, Bobby and Rod, it's all about that sit down with the GM. College football now has a GM just like the National Football League. And to be very honest with you guys, I think that college football now is becoming, we're just a farm league for the National Football League. I mean, you look at what Bill Belichick's doing at the University of North Carolina. Belichick come in and sold the University of North Carolina that he would build an NFL type organization at the University of North Carolina. And they were so amazingly enamored with him. And obviously nobody can argue with Coach Belichick's success, but I think it just really gives you an idea of the direction of where we're going. And, you are an absolute, if you don't have the money in your collective, if you don't have the money in your NIL to support your program, you're not going to win football games. Football games now, it correlates totally to the amount of money that you have to go out and player acquisition, Bobby. It's all about player. It's all about your ability to go out and acquire the absolute elite player, and we're talking about the University of Texas Longhorns. There's nobody in America that has more resources than the Texas Longhorns. The Texas Longhorns have the ability to go out and get, Arch Manning, go out and get whoever it is they need to get, whoever Coach Sark desires as a player that he feels like can help win a national championship. The money's there to go out and acquire that player. And again, Bob, that's the name of the game. That's it in a nutshell. Okay. But what you have to do is, right now we have an issue where so many schools are overpaying for players. They're driving the price up on kids that don't deserve to be paid what, the market is just like, it's crazy right now.
Yeah, it's artificial inflation, Coach. The agents, they're artificially inflating it because they want a piece of it. The bigger the pie, the bigger the piece. That's what we got going on, man. Yeah, it's a go. Hey, Coach, let me ask you about this because just kind of adding on what the Bobby just brought up. So in addition to the player acquisition, as you brought up, that's totally changed. But now player retention
Right.
I think it's also as much of a struggle, if not more, that now in addition to what you said, now I get the best players. I obviously match the NIL dollars, whatever it may be in those negotiations. But then once you build the roster, every year you have to retain most of the roster. And is that a entirely different department? Like that to me sounds like that to me may be even tougher or as tough as the talent acquisition these days.
You know what, Rod? You hit it dead on the head, buddy. It's all about, the retention of your roster and, basically building a new roster every year, Rod. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. And what you have now is you have college football programs, the organization, the way it's set up, they've got certain guys that are just sitting in the back rooms and they're studying the University of Texas's roster. Okay. They're studying Texas's roster and they're trying to define, okay, hey, this guy's a backup. He didn't get much run this year. Maybe he'd be interested in my 100,000 that I got for him, or 50, that whatever it may be. And so, and what's really unfortunate right now is that they say there's supposed to be a rule. You're not supposed to contact players. That's a joke. Okay. Yeah. It's an absolute joke. Your players are getting contacted all year long on a daily basis by other schools. Make no mistake about it.
It's not necessarily other coaches though. It's like representatives of other schools via a collective or a third party that's trying to say, hey, we're in the like you coach tight ends historically. We need a tight end. Do y'all have one? Because right. I'll say this, you're wearing Colorado gear right now. You coach with Deion. Listen to the guys that Coach Brewster's coached with, Rod. Mac Brown, obviously. Jimbo Fisher. Deion Sanders. Dan Mullen. You got through some guys that are pretty good. You got the Deion stuff on. But you also spent a couple years at Charlotte. Now, those other schools are those Power 4 schools, right, that have some resources, et cetera. Charlotte, are you basically, when you were there, were you just basically a way station for players at some level to go to a bigger school? Is that part of what you saw on that end of the stick, Coach?
No question about it, Bobby. And again, it goes back to, you're training these players. Your player development is absolutely huge. You get them to that place where they're a starting player for you. And I was at Charlotte for 1 year, and heck, I went out and I got a player from Texas A&M. I went and got a player from Tennessee. I got them from everybody, but also some of our players got poached. They come get some of our players, and that's the toughest thing is that on that level, being able to retain the good players that you get. And I just think that it's going to be such an exhausting process. And this is the thing, guys, that I think we have to be, wary of, is the fact that basketball, football, we're losing some amazing, great coaches because of this process, because of what's happening, right? Coach Saban, is deciding that, he just doesn't want to fool with it. And there's, in basketball, there's been a bunch of really good coaches that have, made that decision. And so, but what you have to do is you either adapt and adjust or be gone. You're not going to be part of this process. And those that do adapt and adjust, a la Coach Sarkisian, the University of Texas, what they've done is absolutely amazing. I mean, Coach Sark has built a roster that from this point forward, he's going to play for a national championship every year, and he's got the resources, as you two guys both very well know, to sustain it. And golly, that word right there, guys, sustain. Yeah. Can you sustain success? God, that's hard, man.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we want to talk to you about a lot of stuff, so we got to move forward. But I will say this, as it relates to retention, Texas this year lost 10 players to the portal, 10, okay? That's the fewest of any team in the SEC. Wow. And and Coach, this is one of the things well, a roster like Texas that's burgeoning and still getting better, those are usually the ones that are ripe for the most pick. They want to go pick that fruit off, right, and poach. And so Sark did a tremendous job of retaining there. All right, let's talk a little recruiting now with Coach Brew. Rod B, and Tim Brewster, I want you to give us your breakdown of Rod B and your recruitment of Rod Babers, if you don't mind.
Wow.
Oh, man.
So listen. So it wasn't hard, because, okay, Lamar High School, Tom Nolan, head football coach at Lamar High School, one of the best in the state of Texas. Houston was my home, okay? I used to stay at the Marriott right down the street, right, Rod?
Yep.
I mean, I stayed at the Marriott on Westheimer, and I mean, in less than 5 minutes, I could be at Lamar. And I'm just telling you, I spent more time at Lamar with Coach Nolan and recruiting Rod Babers. The first thing you know about Rod Babers is an amazing athlete. He can run. His ball skills are stupid. He's got the longest arms I've ever seen on a guy who plays corner at his size, at his height, tremendously long arms. Love for the game. Love for the game. One thing about Rod Babers is very rarely are you going to see him without a smile on his face. You're going to see this young guy, and I mean, he loves ball. And to me, that is what differentiates players is their true love for the game. And man, I'm gonna tell you, first time I went and watched Rod practice, it was spring practice going into his senior year, and I was out there watching this guy. I mean, back pedal, break. I mean, ball skills. He could, he was just special. And the Texas Longhorns had a tremendous tradition of producing the top DBs in the country, right, guys? I mean, Coach Akina for forever at Texas, but what a pleasure, Bobby. I just, this guy right here. And okay, so the rest of that story is his boy Sapp.
Oh yeah, what's up? Yeah,
his boy Jerome Sapp, who was like, this was the two guys that I had to get. And I told Coach Brown, I said, Coach Brown, I don't got one at Lamar. I got two. And both of these guys could start in the secondary. And so Rod helped me. I say, Rod, man, we got to make sure we get your boy too. And tremendous process. Tell about it, Rod.
I tried, Coach. Trust me, I tried, man. He was enamored with Notre Dame and touchdown Jesus and the romance of Notre Dame and all that, and went on to have, and Bruce right, because he went on to start for Notre Dame and got drafted into the NFL. He's living in Vegas now, Coach. He's living in Vegas. Actually got to work for some tech companies, yeah. But Coach Brew changed my life, and this is why. Changed my life forever. Because you recruited basically the Wood. You're the architect of it. The Wood's my closest group of fans. Me, Sims, Bo Scave, Montrell Flowers in the Wood too. All right, like this, so my Kyle Shanahan, some of my closest friends in the world. And you recruited Sims, myself, and Bo Scave. And I felt like you were the one who almost kind of orchestrated our friendship initially. Because you would talk about us to each other, and you would kind of, I don't know if you were helping us recruit each other, but you almost made it seem like we were a family and a group of friends before we were. And you did a great job of that, Coach. And we are to this day. Like, that's still my group of friends. That started with Coach Brewster. We always talk about that, bro. Always.
You know what? And I love you guys. I love you guys to death. I mean, you guys, you talk about family. Okay, it's amazing family. And Coach Brown, just did an amazing job of allowing us to go recruit the state of Texas and go get the absolute elite players in the state of Texas. And that's what we did. That 1999 class, as Bobby well knows, was the number one class in the country. Okay. Number one class in the country, best players in the country came to Texas and helped Coach Brown and us establish the fact that the University of Texas is back. Ricky won the Heisman in our first year in 1998. Okay. Tremendous year, first year there. And so, and you know what? That love, hey, Rod, this is what I'm talking about right here. Feel me on this, okay? The love is the reason for the fight. That's why we fight. That's why we fought at Texas. That's why we won at Texas like we did, because of how you guys felt about each other. You know, and I think that that's absolutely the name of the game in football right now is guys just understanding that the culture that you build in that locker room is so important.
Yep. That's why, honestly, when Sim said he flipped from Tennessee, and I remember, bro, you said he was going to flip. You told he's like, no. He's good. He's going to flip. Like, how's he saying this? He's committed to Tennessee. How did you know, Coach? How did you know that he was coming? How did you know?
You know what? I thought this, okay? I thought that Chris was with the Longhorns from the jump, okay? From the get-go. I thought Chris was with us. I thought his dad, Phil, who was a good friend of mine, I played for the New York Giants and caught some passes from Phil Simms, but I thought Phil kind of shoved him a little bit to Tennessee, and I just soon as that thing started working back towards us, Rod, I just knew it was what Chris wanted to do, and Chris was just like, I mean, that burnt orange, man, and he got that icy white with number 1 on it. I mean, shoot, it was over, man.
I'll never forget that. I was actually in Maui, Hawaii for a Rivals.com back when I was doing that, and I got a phone call from someone that is on this viewership. Said, "Bobby, you might want to check on a quarterback out of New Jersey and see what's going on there." Yeah. Sure enough, something had dominoed in that direction. I will say this too, that coincided with David Cutcliffe moving from the offensive coordinator at Tennessee down to taking the head job at Ole Miss. And so there was a number of circumstances that kind of all played into that. And that, guys, really, to your point, Coach Brew, when we were talking prior to going on here, you were talking about the importance of a number 1 recruiting class and how that kind of laid the groundwork or the structure for what happened here at Texas for the first time, I think, since that time frame. Texas just had the number 1 ranked recruiting class again.
Yeah,
right.
And tell me this, in Coach Brew, I know that recruiting isn't the be all end all. Recruiting rankings aren't the be all end all. We just saw A&M have one of the greatest recruiting classes of all time, yet it didn't domino for them, right? Things just went sideways, for whatever reason. But what does this give Texas a chance to do? Is it the sustain part that you were talking about? Right. What is it that a number 1 class really brings?
And I think it Bobby, it really comes down to the leadership of Coach Sark and the staff that he's put together at Texas. He has an amazing coaching staff. It's a group of men that are truly committed towards, making these players great players, but also developing them as men off the field and doing things consistently right. I think that right now, that the swag at Texas is back, and I think that Texas right now is in a position as they move forward that they're going to be able to compete for a national championship each and every year, and again, this, Bobby, Rod, you guys, it all comes down to who's my QB, okay. Yep. And right now, okay, University of Texas is, they're starting the process of Arch Manning, and golly, I'm as excited as I can be to watch this kid play because, he's athletic. He's got amazing arm talent, student of the game, obviously, football genes, crazy. I mean, it is going to be a fun ride for the Longhorns. It really is, at some point I'm going to get back to Texas. I'm going to get back to watching the Longhorns and throwing them horns up.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, Coach, another thing I want to ask you, as part of your recruiting pitch, it was always, hey, we can develop you for the NFL, right? Texas last year had 11 NFL draft picks in 7 rounds. That's the most Texas ever had in 7 rounds. They could actually break that record this year. How do you use that as a tool, as part of your toolkit when you go out and recruit in the age of NIL, by the way, too. I mean, it's all these factors kind of meld together, right?
Yeah, no question about it, Bobby. And this is without question, the name of the game is this. Every kid that is recruited to the University of Texas has aspirations of wanting to play in the National Football League. Okay. Mm-hmm. Young Rod Babers, I mean, players want to play in the league, and the name of is show them how. Mm-hmm. And what I do with as I sit down and I have all kinds of videotape and a process of teaching young guys how I'm going to get them to the league, the things from a developmental standpoint. Okay. And I'm going to just tell you, and I know, Coach, you have to be able to coach them hard. I know it's a new day and time. Kids, are a little bit different today. Wait a minute, Coach, why are you hollering at me? Why are you raising, what? Okay. Rod, tell Coach Brew going to get after him.
Yeah. Hey,
Coach Brew is going to get him. I'm going to get after him. And I'm all about the details. And so kids just want to see, coaches that are 100% committed, a head coach that's going to build a structure, build a culture that players are going to, that they're going to, love, waking up every day, knowing that they're a Texas Longhorn, knowing that they're going to go to practice, that they're going to, do the things necessary today that's going to help them move forward down the road towards being a National Football League player. And everything's there at Texas. Everything's there. Okay. I'm absolutely blown away at the facilities now at Texas. I mean, watching games in DKR, and seeing, I mean, heck, what who'd they play? They played in the Texas was it Clemson?
Yep.
Played them at home. And I'm going to tell you what now, it looked lit. It looked absolutely lit, exciting, and so it's like I said, and Bobby, you're 100% on show kid, but don't just talk to him. I mean, really show players the pathway to playing in the National Football League. That's what you have to be able to do.
Yep. And on top of that, Brew, when the guys come in, it's nice for the young guys to be able to see the example in the same room with them in that pipeline, right? I played with that guy, and that guy's in the league now. You know what I mean?
Right.
That helps a lot to have that. And Texas getting that pipeline back now, right? At DBs now, wide receivers, that you'll be in the same meeting room, position room with NFL guys, and they're getting drafted, and then you just kind of part of that, the part of that process and part of that pipeline. And I wanted to be a part of that at DBU, and I think that's also a point of pride. It should be. You know what I mean? It should, to carry on the torch. No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. And the pride that you took, Rod, in teaching the younger players, hey, what I'm talking about is our standard. This is our no. That ain't to our standard. Let's play to our standard. Okay, let's play and let's compete and practice. Because I'm gonna tell you what, it ain't gonna happen in the game unless it happens in practice. Okay, and so the environment that the coaches create in practice is what's going to determine the outcome of the game.
Love it. Yep. Hey, Coach,
you gotta love them hard and coach them hard.
Yep.
You gotta love them hard and coach them hard.
No doubt about it, Bobby. 100%. Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm going to coach them extreme, but I'm going to get, as we leave the practice field, I may have gotten after a guy, really got on him pretty good, put my arm around his neck, tell him, say, hey, I love you. You know I love you, and I just want you to be great. I'm going to help you be great if you'll let me.
Man, I love it. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
There you go.
I've
always said, hey, Rod, you said it perfect. I've always said this. If Rod Babers knows that the coach, okay, say we're talking about Akina, okay, if you know that how much he absolutely cares, you're going to give him your heart and soul, right, Rod?
Every day.
I mean, you're going to give him your heart and soul, and that's where you're going to see the greatness when a kid is out there at practice. And I mean, I'm talking about straight fire is going on.
Yeah, I like that. All right, Coach, I know we take a lot of time. I got another question for you. I got to get this in. Because I love me some Deion. I wanted to be like Deion. I want to wear number 2. You told me, hey, you gonna wear number 21. I remember that day too. You're like, nah, you want to wear number 21. But I follow your career, coach. So no matter where you go, I'm always following the stuff you do. And you ended up at Colorado with Deion. Give me. You ended up with him at Jackson State too. Just tell me a little bit about the experience, your thoughts about Deion. Now people are saying he might be the next head coach of the Cowboys. Give me your thoughts on Deion, the coach.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to tell you what, Rod. He's an amazing human being. First and foremost, he's a country boy from Fort Myers, Florida. He loves to hunt. He loves to fish. He loves, all that stuff. He's an amazing human being. And he loves ball. He loves football. Okay. And what he's about, Rod, he's about shining the light on you. He's going to shine the light on his players. Okay. It's different. I'm going to talk about that stage that Coach Prime puts you on.
Yeah, man.
I'm talking about that stage right there is loud and it's bright. And some guys, Rod, ain't built for that kind of stage, for that kind of environment. But I'm just going to tell you, Rod Babers, oh my goodness. Hey. I'm going to tell you what, you and Coach Prime together is beautiful, man. I'm going to tell you what, Rod. I love him. I love Coach Prime to death. He's like I said, I've had 2 really amazing years with him. He's an outstanding football coach, but most importantly, he genuinely cares about his players. He genuinely cares about his coaches. He's it's just the success he's had is no accident. Okay. It's happened because he's put the time and the effort in. And real quick, okay, Mickey Andrews, one of the great defensive coaches to ever coach, defensive coordinator, Florida State. So I was coached at Florida State for 5 years. So I was sitting at lunch with Coach Andrews, and I said, Coach Andrews, okay, who was the hardest working player that you've ever been around? He said, Deion Sanders.
Wow.
Who's the best player that who's the best player you've ever coached? He said, Deion Sanders. Holy Rod, we're talking about the best player and the hardest worker. The best player and the hardest worker.
Hall of Fame.
Say no more.
Yeah. I love it, Coach. I got to ask you one final question, because if I didn't ask this, I would get tarred and feathered by Texas fans.
Come on, hey, you better ask me about
give me your synopsis or thought process on recruiting young Vincent Paul Young out of Houston's Madison High School. I don't know that we've ever had you officially on the record, other than maybe hear a quote or here. What give people a little feel for what went on in that recruitment, Coach?
You know what? It was an amazing process, and so. The first time I showed up at Madison High School, I go out there and a guy that I love and admire like crazy, Coach Seals, Coach Ray Seals, okay, was the head football coach. And it was spring practice again, like when I went and saw Rod. But think about this now, guys. So I go out there and I see Coach Seals and I say, Coach, where's VY at? You can't say, no, where's he at? He's over there playing corner. He's over there playing corner, okay? He was 6'5", 210 pounds, and this kid is playing corner, okay? Absolutely amazing, okay? Watching him backpedal, how smooth he was, guys, and again, I just knew this. We need to have this young guy at Texas. And I was going to do whatever it took. Okay. Whatever it was going to take, whatever I needed to do to build a relationship with this young guy, I was going to do it. And we did it. We did. Hey, Rod, we all did it together, didn't we?
Amen, bro. Yep. No doubt.
We all did it together, but I'm just going to tell you the story. Okay. So I get VY on his official visit to Texas, okay? And we're we're at the drum, okay? Basketball game, okay? We're underneath and we're talking to coach. I was Coach Barnes at the time. Coach Barnes had just got there, whatever, and I'm recruiting him and I could just tell he was feeling it. Okay. So we come out from underneath the basketball arena. We get up to courtside and we want Vince.
Wow.
We want Vince. And I'm talking about hey Bobby, how many people does the drum hold?
Well, it's now gotten torn down, but I think 12, 15,000, something like that.
It was every last one of them.
Wow.
And I'm just gonna tell you, okay. So then we go back underneath for a quick second, and my man VY got tears. He got tears rolling, okay. And he's just, it makes me emotional right now talking to you guys about it, okay. It was just an amazing moment. And he said, Coach Brew, I'm coming to Texas. Coach Brew, I'm coming to and I mean, I'm trying to like kind of low key and be kind of cool. I mean, obviously inside I'm going absolutely crazy because I knew that this guy right here, and I think a lot of credit for VY has got to go to Greg Davis. Okay. Our offensive coordinator, quarterback coach at the time. I thought he did an amazing job at developing Vince. The fact that Vince redshirted was absolutely huge. I mean, it again allowed him to continue to develop, but one of the greatest players to ever play college football, and going down in history, maybe the greatest game that was ever played in college football. Okay. The Longhorns against USC in the Rose Bowl for the national championship. Okay. And number 10, okay, young fella from H-Town. Okay. From the H, Rod, right? Okay. Led the Texas Longhorns to a national championship. And it was one of the greatest performances that I've ever seen. There was no question about that. Was fourth down where he went and scored on the touchdown, right, guys?
Oh yeah, fourth down.
It was fourth down. Was there any question, Rod? Was there any question that he was going to pull that thing and run it?
He knew the whole time. He knew.
Hey, Rod, do you think he had any thought at all of throwing that ball?
Nah, he's putting the cape on. He's gonna put the cape on. If anybody who knew VY, if we all knew him and we knew, he gonna keep this football.
hey, Rod, I couldn't have said anything, but he put the cape on.
Put the cape on.
Yeah. Hey, I can speak for all the Texas fans. I'm glad he did.
No doubt about it.
I'm glad he did. Coach Brewster, thank you so much for your time. You're so gracious. Tell your wife Kathy hello for us. We appreciate her.
And the boys just say hi too. To all the boys.
You got it. Hey, Bobby and Rod, I love you to death. Appreciate you. And Bobby, our friendship forever. And listen, you guys are going to be part of some great success at Texas in the next couple of years and for the foreseeable future. And I thank you for having me on. Hey, I got
hook 'em. There he goes. Look at that, Rod. Still got it.
It's still there, no doubt.
All right, Coach Brew, you be good, man. Y'all take care.
Have a great one, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
I'll be good. All right, have a good one, guys. Y'all take care. That's been the Saturday Conversation on Texas Football. Hook 'em.